Welcome to the No Streetlights Podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Tim. We'll be diving deeply into what we've been through, how it changed us, and what we've learned.
We want to crush stigma through sharing stories and open and vulnerable conversations.
These conversations could be triggering, so listen at your own discretion.
But please, reach out if we need to be doing something better. So, let's take a breath, relax, and be welcome.
A huge thank you to Hyland Markle for the original music, as well as all the production assistants.
We couldn't have done it without you, brother. Thank you.
If you like his music, you can find him on the gram at HYLANDMARKLE.
In this episode, Aaron and Tim bring back Patrick Hammond. His first episode was about all that he's been through. This episode is about how great life is and everything he would have missed if he'd lost the fight at any point up to now. Keep fighting and you'll make it out. Be your own light. Like we said, we've got Patrick back this week. His last episode, episode 8, Pat Dog, was kind of doom and gloom about what he's been through. But that's just so that this week, whenever he talks about how great things are going and how much better things are, you'll have some perspective on where Patrick's come from so that, you recognize it as the accomplishment it is. So, welcome back, Pat.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here, Pat. Thank you.
Glad to be back. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah. We definitely planned on covering everything in one episode, but like 2 hours in, we were like,
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the Navy thing for 12 years. It's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this episode we could definitely use like the birth of your child as a springboard and just everything you've done to build the life that you have now from that point.
Yeah. I mean, man, having a kid definitely changes everything.
Yeah.
Every aspect of your life, including, reasons to do better, to be better, to keep living, to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
That changed my whole outlook on things. And every time I started to feel, doom and gloom, and those kind of thoughts that enter my mind, I'd be like, well, if I left, this earth, who's going to be, the male role model in her life?
Who's going to take care of my daughter?
Who's going to take care of my kid? Obviously, she has her mom. She'll always have her mom, but I have no input on who the men, that she, would encounter in her life. But I can be the constant, as her dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely helps a lot. Started making some really good buddies in Maryland. And yeah, things started to track up after I left Maryland and I came here to Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Got stationed with Special Warfare and ended up, the plague hit, COVID hit.
Yep.
So ended up not going to work for like 5 months or something.
I remember.
Yeah, Aaron, I think you were living with me at that point.
I was living with you, or like I was supposed to be living with you?
Close to it.
Because I got held up in Poland for like 4 months.
That's right, yeah. You were stuck in Poland. And then even when you did get here, you're like, all right, I got to go ROM. Like,
yep.
Okay, well, it was nice seeing you.
Yeah, immediately went to a hotel for like 2 weeks with no AC.
So wait, why didn't you go to work for like 5 months?
So let's see. I got to Special Warfare in the summer of 2019. Started going through the pipeline, different schools. As a CB, like as my rate is a welder. But when you get to Special Warfare, you're no longer really like a welder or a builder. You're just a CB. So you got to be good at mechanics, driving, electrical work, plumbing.
They break the shit out of their cars.
Yeah, everything. So I went through a whole bunch of different schools to be good, like pretty good at all of those things, enough to get me by.
Yeah. Because
when you're deployed with the teams, they'll only be with them, and they need you to do whatever, you got to do.
Everything.
So I'm going through all these different schools, and I ended up going to SEER school in San Diego, California. right after I got back from that. It was right at the end of February, beginning of March timeframe. Finally, COVID starts to be talked about. It's running around. People are starting to get a little worried. And the government's response was, it was like 2 weeks or something to slow the spread.
Yeah, started with 2 weeks.
So that came out, and my command was like, hey, we're just going to telework for 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and clean the office real good, and then we'll see you at the end of the month. Okay, cool. So we texted in every day, hey, I'm still alive.
Yep.
Is there anything you need me to do, like on my email, I guess?
Yeah.
Not much you can do from the house.
Can I throw a hammer for you?
Yeah. Funny enough, that's also when I started diving into my own personal work. With the welder, I finally got my own welding machine, and so now I'm doing welding projects for people. I built that first headache rack. I did, like a bar stools and tables for people. So I was actually working more not at work than I was at work.
Yeah, I mean, you were doing your own thing. I remember you doing car detailing for a while.
Yep, making money.
A ton of fabrication stuff.
At the end of that 2 weeks, they're like, hey, we're just going to keep doing this for another 2 weeks. All right, man, I got a full beard. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Month goes by, 2 months goes by.
Yep.
And just mustering every day just becomes the norm.
I remember we were talking because I was supposed to be coming to live with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, hey, what are you doing? You'd be like, oh, this, that, the other. I'd be like, do you go to work? So they're making me come in every single fucking day. And you'd be like, nah, I haven't been to work in like 4 months. And I was like, I hate you so much.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky. I unfortunately was mission essential, so I had to show up to work every single day and do the exact same job that I was doing. So with the exception of I had to wear a mask and gloves, which, neither here nor there. I wasn't against it, but just the summer here in Italy, which, by the way, Italy, for people who don't know, Italy, at least in this area, is tropical weather. So it is humid as all hell. And that mask does not do anything to help you feel more comfortable out there. So that sucked. It was not a fun time. And they gave us black gloves in the sun. So our hands were just constantly sweating. Like, I'm pretty sure my gloves were like just weighed down with the sweat. The mask was wet. Like, it was just, man.
Yep.
That's one of the grossest things I've ever had to go through.
Yeah. So hygienic.
Oh,
yeah, definitely wasn't a fan of the.
Thank God we weren't spreading germs or anything.
The quick and rampant responses to the plague, like his, like, oh, we need masks and gloves. It's like, okay, well, what gloves do we have on hand? Like, black leather gloves. It's July.
Do you have any idea how well bacteria grows in leather?
Yes. Oh my God,
People
dude, it was so funny too.
do.
Because like the Navy definitely did not have a plan put into place for a pandemic. So whenever like the whole you have to cover your mouth thing came out, dude, we had sailors who were coming into work with like their brown t-shirts. They would just like rip the sleeve off of it and like wrap it around their face and stuff. Like people showing up with all kinds. We had one dude who was wearing like the full ski mask, and it was like, dude, you can't wear that. And it's like, well, there's no guidance, so this is all I have. And it's like, but your mouth is exposed. Like, what the?
People wearing like gaiters and stuff.
Yeah, I wore a balaclava a couple times because that's just what I had on hand. All the masks, like what you could buy at the store, they're all gone.
Oh yeah,
especially in an area like this, everything's gone.
Yeah,
it's like a global wide mask shortage there for a while.
People selling bottles of Purell for $800 a pop.
Oh my God!
I always feel so like indifferent about that summer because everyone was having such a hard time. People couldn't make ends meet. Money was rough.
No one knew what the fuck was
Everyone
going
getting
on.
sick. Some people it was just a little sniffle. Some people their chest stopped working
and they died.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I met Sierra right at the beginning of it. My current wife, the mother of my second child. I also bought a jet ski right at the beginning of it because everyone's hawking their shit. They need money. So I got a super nice jet ski for really cheap. And I didn't have to work for 5 months. So I'm still getting paid. So I'm just having a blast. Dude, this is probably one of the best summers in my whole life. Her and I are out on the jet ski every single day, just drinking beer, hanging out, just having a great time.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so that's the summer of 2020. Yeah. So
summer of 2020. That should be like a ballad song that we write for you. Have Hyland record it.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure it'll be a movie at some point.
Oh my god, yeah.
2020.
Dude,
Oh,
you know there's
God.
already a
I'm sure
documentary for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard court case on Netflix?
Don't even need to make it. They just need to just post the trial on Netflix.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. There's your documentary.
Just
Dude,
cut
they
out the
could've
boring parts with it.
Paid
Here
some
it is.
random like people on the street in Los Angeles, like, hey, will you record like your professional opinions, quote unquote, for this documentary we're doing? Yeah, sure. So what do you think about Johnny Depp? Oh, I love him. Great guy.
Yeah.
Just sit in front of this camera and talk like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's an easy way to get a documentary out.
Oh, yeah. Hell, we could make a documentary. The rise of
I am a
NSLP.
documentary. Yeah. God.
I did just watch a documentary yesterday on another girl's podcast, the Really Good Podcast. You've seen that? It's like the really straight-faced, like no humor style of, I guess, talking. I don't know. Her very first podcast guest was Drake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, people were saying that she's the first podcaster, like industry plant.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot, like something
Gotcha.
Adhoff, I think is her last name. Bobby Adhoff.
Mm.
Super sidebar, but yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, summer of 2020 was pretty idyllic, is what you're saying.
For me personally, yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out really well for me personally.
Okay. So, tell us more about your story, like how you've come up and how you've changed your life since having, your daughters come into your life. And
Really just like a mindset change.
Okay.
On top of that, getting older,
yeah.
All of a sudden all this boozing and cruising starts to really suck. I started getting a little fat.
Yep.
A little slow. Recovery started being awful. I pretty much accepted the fact that I'd abused my liver into oblivion. So now, like, a little hangover for me is like an entire day into maybe the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just started to really just suck. So I backed off on, I think towards like the tail end of that year, I really backed off on drinking a good bit to where, I don't know, maybe just took it to the weekends or something like that, or just one night during the weekend. That kind of, I guess for me, the drinking problem kind of solved itself.
Yeah.
Just
Being
got fixed
sucks.
with age.
Yeah, really, I attribute a lot of my now success to just getting older.
Yeah.
Being more focused into things that actually matter. As you approach 30, all of a sudden, I should probably pay my bills on time. Like, keeping my car, maintenance, properly is,
Kind of important.
ideal.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't get this credit card, or maybe I should. And, you start making better decisions.
Okay. So, what have you been doing since then in order to maintain that mindset and execute? Because talking about it is half, 10%. So, what are you doing? How many duathlons and triathlons have you run? Like, tell me about your bikes and shit, man.
Quite a few.
Quad
Yeah,
athlon.
fitness has really just changed everything. Having my first daughter and then being with Sierra after about a year, we started to really get serious about maybe we should get married. What's your idea on kids? We both got really interested in the idea of having a kid together.
Yeah.
Which I never thought was freaking possible for me, because my previous situation ended so poorly. I was like, never again, I'll never have a kid. But then here I am,
Like a year in, you're like, dude, I could see having a family.
I could
with you.
absolutely see this being the mother of, another child of mine.
Dude, I'm so glad it hooked you guys up. Like, damn.
But yeah, just I guess just a whole mindset change. I want to be there for my kids, when they're getting married. I want to be there when they're graduating, when they're entering the workforce. I want to be able to be there for them. I want to see their kids. And I'm not going to be doing that if I'm drinking myself into the ground, if I'm smoking, a pack or two a day, if I'm sitting on the couch, all day and night. I got to do something myself. I don't want to be needing help getting up when I'm 45. I don't want to be out of breath sitting at the dinner table. I want to set a good, solid example for them. This is, in my eyes, I want to be a good role model, I guess to say.
Yeah. Do you have I ever told you the story about the day I quit smoking cigarettes?
No, I didn't even know that you were into it.
Yeah, well, I was in the military, so.
Yeah, I think we smoked a couple cigs together, but nothing like religiously.
No. But yeah, no, I got into smoking and dipping and all that in the military because it is part of the culture.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the day I quit smoking cigarettes, we were hiking a mountain, and I was out of breath before we reached the top. Like, I was needing to take a break, and I was like, this is not going to be in my life if it's going to hamper it. Because I want everything to add to my life, not detract from. But I remember you also saying, like, you didn't want to be the fat dad who, like, couldn't help your kids.
Yeah. I started seeing examples like that. I try to not judge people super hard because I don't know any of these people, but I see a good majority of fathers that aren't able to protect their families or be there for their families or make it up that mountain on a hike with their kids. It's just that idea just shook me to my core. I can't be like this. There's no way.
So I refuse. It does seem like you're focusing on functionality, cardiovascular health. Like, whenever I first got back, you were like, maybe we'll do weightlifting together. And I realized very quickly that my body was too broken for that. Mm-hmm. And so I've also been focusing on like functionality and just doing some cardio in the morning. And like range of motion stuff.
Yeah.
You don't realize how bad your body is locked up before you try and move it.
Oh my God, yeah. Especially like try jumping into running when you haven't done anything for like 2 years.
Yeah. Except for abuse your body.
All of a sudden, like, wow, why does the middle of my shins hurt? Like, it's not even a joint. Why does that hurt?
Every night your lower back is like locked up.
Yeah.
How do I not die?
Yeah. Something else that helped me was this guy on YouTube, Seth Feroci. I like some of his stuff. But he has this training series called Functional and Fuckable.
Oh, hell yeah.
He wants to be super functional, like being able to carry heavy weights long distances, being able to lift heavy weights, being able to run, all this great stuff, but also look good as a byproduct of it,
Yep.
Because why not? If you're doing all this functional and hard cardiovascular work and lifting weights, it will, in turn, make you pretty good looking.
Yeah. I watched a lot of Athlete X, which it's a lot about...
He's the OG.
Yeah, dude. Especially when I was lifting heavy, because when you're lifting heavy, your joints start to hurt.
Yeah.
From imbalances. So Athlete X was like, oh, if your back hurts, it's because you're lifting a bunch of weight and this part of your back is weak.
Yep.
Here's how you fix it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, you've gone off the deep end with cardio. What are some of the runs and triathlons and marathons and whatever you've done?
I've really gotten into duathlons. I got into I watched a couple Ironman videos about a year or two ago, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. I didn't realize that a person could go that far under their own manpower.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, but I really suck at swimming. So my next best option is a duathlon, which is a bike run instead of the swim bike run. And so, last year I did my first duathlon. It was a 3 mile run, and then a 16-mile bike, and then a 3 mile run. And then I just did another one about 2 weeks ago of the same distance. But I cut I think almost an hour off of my time.
So you're saying it's a 3 mile run, 16-mile bike.
Yeah. And then a 3 mile run.
3 mile run.
That's a short distance too. That's called a sprint distance. I was really wanting to do an Olympic this year, which is a 3 mile run, a 25 mile bike, and then a 6 mile run. But just with getting the house ready and getting orders and stuff, my amount of time I could train dwindled down, mostly because of my fault.
But your fridge died.
My fridge did explode.
You had a baby.
Yeah.
You got plenty going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would call that the basket of life just was a little full for you. It's okay.
So what are you What were your times? You said you shaved an hour off. What's your new time?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get official times. I don't know what happened with my... you wear like a thing around your ankle,
Yeah.
and it passes by the
Sensors,
timers.
yeah.
But I don't know why, but my information didn't get uploaded to their
That happens.
website. But according to my watch, I ran my first run in 30 minutes, and then the bike 40 minutes, and then another 30-minute run. Yeah.
So you maintained the same pace on
Yeah.
your second run.
I don't know how I was able to do that. I think it was just race mindset, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
You go into the David Goggins, just grind. It's going to suck. Just be
Yeah,
there.
really, yeah. 'Cause I don't, for me, I always think like it only hurts once. You know, like getting tattoos or doing this race, you know, it's only going to hurt right now. You know, tomorrow it's going to be over. A week from now, forget what it even felt like. You know, next year, you know, it will just be a blip in the system.
Yeah.
So why not just grind, do it right now, and it'll be over. And that really gets me through a lot of these workouts, some of these races.
I think a lot of that could come from you being a hands-on professional, because whenever you line up your work properly, there's so much less to do on the back end. So you may have realized, like, if I just work my ass off right now, I'm going to have to do way less shit later.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I think about that when I'm running.
Yeah.
Often, you know, like, of course, I want to stop right now because that would feel way better.
Yeah.
Or at least slow down. But the slower I'm going right now, that's just the longer I'm going to have to be running.
Yeah.
Or I can just grind this out, and then that gives me an extra 10 or 15 minutes on the back end to just chill and relax after this run that I wouldn't have otherwise. Yeah. Fitness. Game changer. Absolutely. Cardio is, in my eyes, pretty much everything. You can improve anything in your entire life with cardio.
Yeah.
And to include lifting weights.
Yeah.
I also do that. I like to follow more of like a hybrid plan
Yeah.
for workout. Yeah. I found myself this summer 95 degrees out at the zoo, hot and just miserable, and I'm just walking around up and down the hill like it's no big deal. I got my daughter here during the summer, and she wanted to go to the zoo. You know,
Yeah.
A year or two prior to that, I'd be sitting down like, I need a break. You know, it's hot. Like, hey, do you want to wrap this up soon? But, you know, now I'm just ready to rock and roll. Like, whatever you guys want to do, I'm up for it.
Yep.
And that makes me extremely happy. I'm very glad now to start to see the real results.
You're starting to look like the old Patrick more.
Yeah.
When I first got here, you were a little laborious in your motions, and like we needed to change a starter on old Red.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, I'm going to come, I'm going to sit in a chair, and I'm going to point at the bolts you need to turn. And like you were huffing and puffing, getting up. And I was like, damn, Pat, you've been drinking, boy.
Yeah. Holy cow, yeah.
Sucks working through all that.
All that. Yeah.
But now, I mean,
I feel like I'm getting closer back to what I once was.
yeah. And I mean, you're looking at an hour 40 duathlon doing, what was it, 6 and 12, 18 miles in sub 2 hours? Like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude, biking has a game changer for me because as though like I am pretty good at running, I still don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I know I need to do.
Yeah.
But biking is another form of cardio that is way more fun, in my opinion. You can go way further, way faster.
Yeah, because you get more of a sense of accomplishment because you did smash those hella miles on a bike.
Yep.
What did you realize you kind of needed in a bike? Because I know you've gone through a couple iterations.
I just bought originally just like a regular road bike from Dick's Sporting Goods, and I rode it to ODU a couple times where my wife was going to college at the time, and that was like 16 to 18 miles or so. And I think after about 100 miles on the bike, it started to kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
The bearings in it started making noise. And I took it to a bike shop and like, hey man, you bent the wheel. What do you mean I bent the wheel? Like I've only been hopping off like sidewalks and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, but like what the hell? So I was like, well, maybe I'll look into something a little more serious. And I ended up settling on a Trek Domani AL3.
Oh.
Super sweet bike. It's a little bit more serious. I think it was about $1,400, but it's as far as like a beginner, like an entry level road bike. Like I don't think there's anything better than that. It's I still ride it to this day. I consider it my workhorse.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then now I have my race bike, which has a different position on it, and you're able to, it has armrests over the handlebars, and like you actually lean over and you sit in an aero position for probably 95% of your entire race, unless you're like climbing like a steep hill or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so those are my two active bikes right now. And then I still got that old hybrid bike. I ride it to Food Line every once in a while if I need something
with the
from
bent
grocery
wheels.
store. Yeah. I think I might just leave it with the house when I move or donate it to somebody. I don't need it anymore, and I'm not trying to make any money off of it.
Shit, give it to Dad.
Yeah, if he wants it, yeah.
Yeah, he's been looking for a road bike.
I still ride it around.
And he's lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's down to like 240 from... In our childhood, he was like 300 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think I met him until I was a little bit older.
Yeah, we're probably...
Late teens or something like that, but yeah.
When you first started your fitness journey, did you kind of like... Did you dive in all at once, like jump into like the dieting and the fitness, or was it something that you had to work your way up to?
I pretty much dove all the way into an empty pool.
Oh, that's good.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was buying all this sweet gear and then ran into a bunch of injuries and malnourishment. I didn't know what to do at all. You know, when it comes to long distance endurance stuff, I didn't know that you're supposed to eat,
Yeah.
while doing it. And so I would do these hour and a half long bike rides, and I would just feel like crap afterward, like awful, like more than just like tired, but it felt like I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
Like I had no blood sugar left or something. So yeah, learning nutrition all over again was this wild learning curve. I had to really back myself off on how long I was going to be out there and bump up the calories on and off the bike. Jump straight into running, not knowing that my ankles and my feet, like the strength in them was completely gone.
Yeah.
And I already have flat feet to begin with, so I started getting shin splints really bad. So I had to go get my feet reevaluated, and then I got proper shoes and insoles fitted, so I kind of solved that problem for the most part, and I still had to just run more and just get more strong.
Build the strength up, yeah.
Build the strength up, back off the miles, and just slowly just build that. So yeah, dove all the way in, but didn't really do it smartly.
I mean, it sounds to me like you started up and every single time you ran into a roadblock, you just kind of, I don't know, you fixed it and then you just kept going.
Found a solution.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want anything to stop me from achieving my goals. I just had to take different paths, I guess, to get to them.
Yeah. So you're talking about the jet ski. Jet ski blew up.
Blew up the jet ski.
Yep. And I watched you rebuild the engine on your kitchen table.
Yeah. It was hot outside.
Yeah.
I put it in the kitchen.
So with Hammond Fabrication, what have you learned through that work? I know you built the headache rack for your vehicle for your wife. I know we fabbed up some shit that didn't work because I'm not an engineer or a fabricator at all. So like, what are your welding life lessons? Like taking your time, setting up your work, like what?
Just not taking more than you can chew at once.
Okay.
You know, and then being real with your time and your equipment. You know, the welding machine I have right now is very good. It's a TIG machine, but it's not very fast. TIGging is a very slow process. And so building Sierra's headache rack, I noticed real quick, like, I need a freaking MIG, which is the self-feeding welder.
Yep.
Way faster with pretty much the same quality.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I had to kind of be real with myself on, you know, how much work can I really take on? You know, how long would it take me to do it? All that kind of stuff. Is at first, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that. Yep, I can do that. And then people started asking, well, how much would you charge? And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Buy me a beer?
Yeah.
I remember that was your
Trying to make that shift from like favors and items to cash, and then trying to evaluate how much is my time worth, how much is my equipment worth. See, that took probably that whole year to really kind of feel all that stuff out. probably slow down a lot on all of that.
Whenever I climbed Mount Fuji, the only reason Fuji's on my mind is because Freebird just climbed Mount Fuji.
Yep.
So shout out Freebird. Welcome to the club. We kept passing this old Japanese guy, and then we'd sit down and take a break, and he would pass us. And then when we got up, we would pass him again.
Yeah.
And then, we'd sit down, take a break, he would pass us. And we were like, I can't even remember. We were like, 2/3 of the way up or something. And he stopped and said, do you know the best way to climb Mount Fuji? And we were like, no, wise old Japanese man of the mountain, please tell me your secrets. And he went, small steps. And since that day, man, if I'm climbing a mountain, I'm taking small steps.
Yeah.
Big steps wear your ass out. So you get just as far expending half as much energy taking small bites.
Yep.
Yeah.
And being okay with that. Be okay with not making as much progress in such a quick amount of time. You will still get there.
Yeah. And if you do want to go faster, you need different equipment.
Yep. Just build up to it.
Yeah. So if you got a TIG system, you can do however many feet of weld. And if you have a MIG system, you can do however many feet of weld.
Yeah.
You couldn't do the running you're doing now with the shoes you had before.
No.
So,
No.
I mean, having the right equipment and the right setup and realistic expectations, that's huge. And a lot of my friends that have started small businesses, like doing stickers and t-shirts and even fabricating, making stuff, whether it's artsy-fartsy or, mechanical in nature. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize is how much you value your time and how you incorporate that into your cost.
Yeah.
Like, are you paying yourself $25 an hour for your labors? How much did you pay for your machine? How much was your MIG? How much are your consumables?
Mm-hmm.
That's a word I didn't understand until I came and lived with you. You were like, that's a consumable. I have to prepare to go through 5 of these.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have it all on hand, too, before you start. Well, you don't be running out of your consumables halfway through a job.
Yeah.
Now you're running around trying to grab, stuff from different stores. And
Yeah.
now, it's taking an extra long amount of time. Now your customer's wondering, like, am I paying for this time, for you to be running around because you weren't prepared?
Hyland just had a big renovation on his garage where he put on a new roof and stuff. And the builder ran out of white screws on his white roof and was like, I'm just going to use regular screws.
No.
Nobody has white screws. And Hyland was like,
You can go find some.
no, I paid you to put this roof on right. You're not using black screws on half of my white roof. And so the builder had to go to every hardware store in the county and found it at the last hardware store an hour away. And luckily they had
Yeah.
enough white screws to finish the job.
It's a
But
shame when you find out that you hired the wrong guy halfway through him doing the job.
he was I think he was just a good old boy out in the West who's used to doing
Yeah.
stuff and people not giving a shit.
Yeah.
Well,
But Hyland was like, no, I'm building this house. I want it built right. I want the roof to be white.
it goes back to planning.
Yeah.
Proper planning.
Because Hyland's an engineer, not a...
Yeah, that was on to that contractor to have a bill of material, and have everything set up on site before he'd even begin work. Or at least have it on the way with a delivery date.
But he was probably like, I probably have enough screws. And if not, I'll use some regular fucking screws.
No.
And Hyland was like, no,
Oh,
this
no.
is my home.
Yeah.
White screws on the white roof.
So
I think that's pretty straightforward.
having the right equipment, the right mindset, man, that's pivotal.
So one thing that we talked about last time with you, Pat, you were talking about, or we did talk about how you're going to be going and pushing boots. And just to kind of clarify what that means, I don't know if we explained it in the last episode or not, but training the up and coming sailors as they go to boot camp and get ready to go out to the fleet. Kind of one thing after talking with you and hearing about how it was a mindset switch for you. And you kind of flipped that and you focused on your goals and you were able to tackle all the challenges to get to those goals. How do you want to take that like what you were able to accomplish for yourself and kind of teach the up and coming generation?
Man, I just really hope that I can help them learn the lessons that I had to learn the hard way without them having to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
You know, financial mistakes. I hope I can help them to avoid those, you know, jumping into a marriage too early. I hope that I can at least, you know, give them some insight on what they may or may not, you know, encounter with that, or having a kid a little bit too young. Just, you know, things that I've done in my life that, you know, proved to be difficult. I hope that I can convey that to them so that way they don't go through the same hardships that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal with the podcast too, is like, you know, we've seen some shit, so here's how you make it out.
Yeah.
So what other mindset shifts have you had? I know you're really into Jocko's extreme ownership or accountability, which is it?
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership. So what are your personal philosophies that are driving you forward so aggressively? Because yes, you're making moves like everyone else, but the thing that astounds me is the pace at which you're doing it. And a lot of that is attributed to this change in mindset you've brought up a couple times, but I want to dive into your philosophy. Like, what makes you more successful than the next guy?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's just a combination of time and experience and just having things in my life that drive me forward.
Yeah, but what is your philosophy? I mean, as far as extreme ownership goes, I know you understand and realize that everything going on around you isn't that you have a measure of control over that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think everything in your life is because of you.
Yeah.
You know, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
This is where ownership comes in. I don't want to steal all Jocko's thunder, but, you know, his book really did reflect with me strongly.
Have you read Goggins' book?
No, not yet, but it is on the slate. I just started Endurer by Cameron Haynes.
Nice.
On that one right now. I like that one. But yeah, after reading that book, it really changed my, I guess, perspective a little bit on how I could be better for myself and for my family and for pretty much everybody in my life. And in that, in turn, it would all make things better for myself.
One thing about your philosophy that just popped back into my head is something that you said a lot when we were working on Old Red and any vehicle. You said, while you're in there, you might as well.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of
philosophy goes. Yeah, I guess that would be.
I think that's a big part of Ham Dog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Is while you're already starting a job, you might as well fix what's adjacent to it. So now that you're doing your cardiovascular, I'm sure you're doing more stretching.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're doing more functional mobility exercises. Mm-hmm. So while you're in there, appears to be a Patrick Hammond staple.
Yeah, you're right. I never really connected those dots before, but yeah, I do that with more than just working on vehicles. Yeah.
It's everything. While you're in there, you might as well.
Yeah, that started almost as an ailment years ago when I'd replace a part in my car and I'd have to pull out, 10 other parts to get to it. And I'm like, well, shit, like while I'm here, I might as well replace this and that because they're probably going to break too.
Yeah.
Which kind of digs you in a hole sometimes, because now you got, $10,000 worth of car parts on your table. Don't recommend doing that.
Yeah.
But there I was in that situation.
But I'm sure it saved your ass.
It did, yeah. With my Duramax, I was able to pretty much fully re-outfit everything that ever could have gone wrong with it. And by God, that truck got me all over this country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that with you a lot. I know it made you a little agitated at times, but you were also like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I am lazy because I'm a human being, but, your arguments make sense and I'm hyper analytical. So if you're like, you should do this, I'll think about it. And if I should, I'm like, God damn it. Now I got to fucking do this.
Yeah.
While you're in there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, with fitness, like, well, you just got done with the run, while you're huffing and puffing, you might as well do some stretching while you're here,
Yeah. That's like whenever I do my morning cardio, I'm like, well, while I'm sweaty, I might as well, work on this project with Dad.
Yeah.
I'm already sweaty. I'm not going to take 2 showers today.
Yeah.
Or I probably am, but.
I mean, yeah.
So we're like, any other number of examples. Editor, cut that out.
I'm gonna have to like write a little essay or something on
while you're in there.
While you're in there, maybe I can turn that into my own book.
Hell yeah, dude! I think that'd be a great title,
Yeah.
or at least concept. While you're in there,
I'll have to work on that.
That should be your self-help book for sure. Take that to Barnes and Noble.
That could be your title of your philosophy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mine is collaborative leadership.
Yeah.
For my leadership idea, I think your personal philosophy is while you're in there.
While you're in there,
you might as well.
Yeah.
That has spent so many dollars of mine.
And it got you into your marriage because you were like, well, she's living with me. I might as well love her. And if I love her, I might as well let everyone know I love her with a ring and a ceremony. And
yeah.
Well, if I'm already loving her and we already live together, we might as well have a kid and raise a kid. Because then I'm going to have to do less raising when I'm old.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess you've learned a lot about front loading your work there, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I could expand on it even more now.
I'm listening.
That's pretty good. I mean, like, while you're, like, if you're improving your life really at all, like, well, while you're working on your fitness, you might as well work on your philosophy. You might as well read some more books. While you're reading some more books, you might as well hang up a freaking bookshelf.
And since you're working on your fitness, how's your sleep hygiene?
Better, but with caveats.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Is like, for my sleep hygiene, that's one very important thing, is we need to have a schedule for my family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm waking up at the same time every single day. I have the same set schedule. And it's like, well, you're getting up early, so that means you need to prepare to get up early.
Mm-hmm.
So after we brush our teeth, we don't touch our phones.
Yeah.
We read while we're in bed. We talk about our day. And the wife touches me.
Editor, keep that
in. Deal.
That's something I'm working on right now is sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
Because I have sleep apnea, and so I have to wear a machine at night.
Yeah.
And that is a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think you'll be able to out-fitness your sleep apnea, or do you think you just have to adjust to the CPAP?
I don't know. I'm not sure how it works. Most of the doctors that I've dealt with for it, like, most of their patients are either, like, much older or much heavier. And so for, like, someone with an average build like me, to have it, they don't really know what advice to give me. They're just like, well, here's your machine, let us know how it goes. I think for me, it's more of like a sinus thing. Maybe my sinuses aren't built correctly or something.
I think a lot of your sleep issues are from your, if I may be so bold as to make a diagnosis, because I'm a doctor. A lot of it, I think, is your PTS with your insomnia and how...
Yeah, that doesn't help.
We are romantic, so that means we feel things really deep.
Mm-hmm.
So that shit that we've talked about, like, stays with you, and, like, not to call you out or anything, I'm saying this because I love you, but, like, I see symptoms of your PTS all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And so I think that could be a huge thing behind, because your sinuses might suck, but, like, you're great at breathing. You breathe so much. Your fitness is great. You do fitness so much.
Yeah.
Like, so what does that leave? It could be, because, I mean, before you wouldn't be able to sleep, so you drink 2 beers.
Yeah.
Now you're not drinking 2 beers, so how do you calm down at night before bed?
Yeah, like I said, the whole sleep thing right now, I guess while I'm fixing my life, sleep right now is on the chopping block. That one's I'm really hard working on. Trying to get that freaking mask on every night, all night. I wore it 2 nights ago, I think, for 8.5 hours, and I felt like $1,000,000 the next day. That really remotivated me to keep working on it.
I mean, shit, it could be the burn pits, too, because you said you guys camped out right next to the burn pits.
Yeah, that's why
I couldn't
put
it could be
it,
medical, or it could be.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, like, physically tangible damage to your lung, or it could be...
But I do know sleep apnea now is more normal. People talk about it more. You know, it's not this weird...
But so is obesity.
Strange thing. Yeah.
So is this nature or nurture, is my
I
argument.
know, like Joe Rogan, he has it. He talks about... He doesn't wear a CPAP, but he does wear a thing that holds his tongue forward.
Oh,
so that way his tongue doesn't fall back into
like a
his
mouth guard type deal.
Yeah. Another YouTuber, Derek, More Plates, More Dates, he's pretty big now. He wears a machine, and he's very fit. He's a bodybuilder, and he has to wear one. You know,
so it might just be like a thing.
Post Malone came out with it. He's got to wear one now. Yeah, so I don't know, but it's nice to see other normal people dealing with it. You know, fit people, not smokers. You know, nothing. Post Malone smokes and drinks, but you know, a lot of these other people I see, they don't. They live pretty normal lives. They're very fit, and they have to wear a machine. So okay, you know, it's not so big of a deal for me having to wear one.
Yeah.
I had a guy on our ship. He had to wear a CPAP, and he was in damn good shape. I mean, you know, he was probably like 35 in that area. You know, not like a 6-pack of abs, but like the dude was.
But if you're
strong.
fit at 35, you are fit.
Yeah, dude was strong. And I mean, he had to wear a CPAP too. I mean, have you looked into like sleep medications recently, or did you kind of give up on the medication aspect after you were given those pills and they turned you into a zombie?
I've tiptoed with like Unisom and stuff and ZQL a couple of times, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Like I'll take it and then I'll lay there, and about 3 hours later I'm like, well, that's a bust. And now like you still kind of feel like a little bit of a, I don't say like a buzz, but you can tell something's
You're
dulling.
Inebriated.
Yeah, something's dulling your system down. And so now I'm annoyed with that because I feel that and I'm awake and it's 3 a.m. and I don't want to be feeling all weird if I'm going to be awake. So occasionally I'll take something like that, but nothing like prescribed.
I take hydroxyzine for mine, and like until 10 a.m. probably, or sometimes noon, like I'm kind of groggy. So I get what you're saying.
Have you ever just tried like regular melatonin, or like the slow release melatonin that's supposed to help you stay asleep throughout the night and stuff?
No, I did see, I think, a study once on melatonin, on how, just like anything else, if you provide it for your body won't provide it for itself.
Yeah,
that kind of sat with me a little wrong. I know it's a good idea to take it if you're like jet lagged or something, and it helps you set up to the new area you're in. But
I mean, you could drink valerian root tea at night, and that'll make your body want to produce melatonin.
That'd be good. I've been drinking Sleepy Time lately, every night. Trying to
thing.
make like, I have like a morning ritual I have.
So now you're having
I'm trying to make like an evening ritual also.
Yeah.
Dude, when I had my doctor check me out for my insomnia and start looking at like medications to give me, the conversation got started with, well, have you ever taken melatonin? I was like, yeah, I've been taking melatonin every night for the past like 5 years. And he was like, yeah, I do the same thing. And I was like, okay. So medication to help me sleep? And he was like, I mean, you could just keep taking the melatonin. It's fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I take like 3 pills every night for the past 5 years.
Fine.
And he was like, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I'm like, because I've seen the same things that you're talking about too, right? Whereas like if you take the melatonin, your body's going to stop naturally and all that good stuff. And I was like, should you be recommending me to like just take fistfuls of melatonin regularly, or can I just get like some trazodone?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there's a group of medical professionals that they like to solve the problem today with medication, which I get that. I can understand why they would think that way, but I prefer to find solutions if possible. Yeah, like I would prefer to be able to just fall asleep on my own because I want to go to sleep at this time, not because I'm drugged up or because I'm having to take a handful of melatonin or whatever. I'd rather hopefully, ideally, be able to fall asleep.
Do you know how that's while you're in there?
How?
It's like doing it right the first time. It's like, why would you put stop leak in your
radiator
when you could just replace the radiator?
Yeah.
Like, just replace the damn radiator.
I guess my book will have to be about life lessons learned from working on motors.
I mean, they already have Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. You might want to read that as a primer.
You got me that book.
what kept you going through the hard times? What message do you kind of want to like leave people with about making it through, making it out? Like you've got a boat and a nice car and a wife and a family, and you just sold your house. Like,
man, it all just took time. It took time. Meeting the right person for me. It took time. Being able to buy my first home. It took time. I didn't buy my first house until I was 10, 11 years into the Navy. Just how it worked out for me. I just bought my first brand new vehicle. 12 years, into my first job or my first big job, and I finally am able to afford a new car. It just takes time, and for some people, it takes a little bit more time. And if you cut that time short, then you may not see any of those rewards at the end. I was able to have a second child with an amazing woman, and I have this amazing relationship. This life that we're building, with each other is out of this world, and it took time.
Yeah. And
so if I had cut that time short, none of this would have happened. And I think about that on occasion, to just keep going, I guess, keep rolling forward, no matter how hard things get or become or how bad it gets, just keep.
I feel like
going.
we kind of shared that sentiment in our recent episode too, where it's like you can't give up. You can be faced with some of the hardest things in life, but you just got to keep pushing through it. I mean, it's not going to be easy. Obviously, we're talking about going through the hardest things you've ever had to face in this lifetime, but pushing through it, that's going to be the only way for you to come out on the other side.
Yeah, I know when we were going to school, like around our senior year, and then when I was in college, It Gets Better was a huge campaign for like depression and stuff. Was like, don't end your life. You just got to trust that it gets better. Like and for me, I think my whole world philosophy, is what I'm creating. And
right.
Part of that is like, if you put good out into the universe, you get good back. Whether you call that God, whether you call that karma, whatever you call that, it doesn't matter. But then a nuanced part that I just saw recently and kind of uncovered was everything you do to yourself is then put out into the universe. So you also have to cut yourself some slack. And like, if I wouldn't yell at Tim for not going and working out, I should cut myself slack on a day that I miss because I'm exhausted. So it gets better. And what you're putting out is what you're going to get back. So if people around you are shitty, you can still be a good person because you know that eventually good things will happen to you because you're being a good person.
Yeah, I think I've recently kind of developed that new mindset of everybody gets theirs. Good people will eventually have good things come to them. Bad people will eventually get what's coming to them.
Yeah.
For me personally, it helps me not get kind of hot-headed with people that are being assholes or, that are making bad decisions or they're doing things that are, affecting me negatively. I'm able to kind of think that way, like, I don't need to retaliate on this person. I don't need to do anything because they will eventually get, what's coming to them. Or for me, all this good that I'm trying to put into myself and my family, eventually, some good will start to come back to me, which it did, as I was saying with my home and my family, your car, the boat, I think all that good that I've been putting into, everything I could find, putting good into, finally I'm starting to reap some of those,
And even when you were down in the mud, you were still fighting, still doing the good shit.
Yeah.
There was something I was listening to earlier, and this is kind of off topic, I guess, but the overall moral is what I want to get to. So I was listening to this video by this YouTuber. His name is Windy Goon, and I love his videos because he's always breaking down things like horror related and whatnot, right? So
I love Windy
Goon.
He
recently was doing like an expose on a video game called Faith the Unholy Trinity. I've never played it. It's like an Atari 1980 style game. But, breaking through all that, the story of the main character over the 3 chapters, the 3 chapters. So the character goes from like being terrified and like not having faith in himself to like becoming far stronger than he ever thought he could ever be and things like that. And I loved it because in the last like 10 minutes of the episode, Wendy Goon, because the game is about like religion and whatnot. So he was like, the question comes down to like, where is God in all of this? And he's like, God's ever present the entire time throughout the game. He's like, because you watch the character grow stronger. God gave the character the strength he needed to overcome the challenges himself. And he's like, and you can take that kind of information. And that's kind of how, because a lot of people like pray for, for their problems to be solved by like their higher power or whatever, like in the spot, like can just make my debt go away or just make me find $1 million tomorrow on the ground or whatever. But the truth is like, spiritually or whatever it is that, you believe in, you should be looking to give yourself the strength to find the solution yourself. And that's kind of what popped into my brain when you were talking about that.
I think all religions say he helps those who help themselves. So if you're not putting in the work, you're not going to get any benefit. Yeah. If you don't plant seeds, nothing's going to grow. Mm-hmm. So you still have to plant. And whatever you call deity, even if you're atheist or agnostic, one thing I've enjoyed with talking to people who identify as like Luciferians or whatever, they're like, my deity is myself. I have to become the best version of me I can be in order to honor myself. And I'm like, cool. Well, then I'm on your side, dude.
Extremely reasonable.
Call me a Luciferian or whatever. The Satanist can claim me. Yeah. That's it. It's just like, I think you should be doing your best and caring about people and stuff. So it doesn't matter what you call deity. It's what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah. Whether
you think that's a person with a beard in the clouds pulling strings, or you think it's like great cosmic energy, it doesn't matter.
And I think, and again, right, like we talked about this in the last episode, but the strength from within, and if you can't find the strength from within, find the strength from without. Like go to your friends, lean on the people who matter to you and everything. Because Pat, when you were going through what you were going through, just judging from what I've been hearing from the stories and everything, it sounded like Aaron was with you every step of the way through that. And kind of in the same way, like how he would call me out on my crap when I was going through my stuff, I feel like that's just kind of the person Aaron is, He's that friend that's always there to provide that strength whenever you feel like you don't have that strength or you don't have the willingness to get that strength,
Yeah, you could absolutely see friends and family as tools, use the tools to get the job done. And the job is helping you get through whatever hard time, you're going through.
That was one thing I kind of wanted to talk about that I forgot, was like having the right tool for the job will change your life.
Yeah, sometimes the tool is your spouse or your best buddy or whoever, they can help you solve
I know my
this problem.
wife, she has been a massive help for a lot of stuff that I've gone through. So definitely like lean on the people around you. They will help you find that inner strength. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that has to face that challenge and you're going to be able to beat it with the people that are surrounding you and helping you.
From the bottom of our heart, thank you for joining us. This has been Aaron.
And Tim.
With
Pat.
Tag someone you're proud of for how they've overcome adversity.
And now they're doing it. They've made it out. Now they're living the life they want to live.
And comment on our recent posts with what you want to hear us discuss on a future episode.
Be good to yourselves and each other. We love you.
Peace!
Okay, bye.